In this tutorial, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you go about presenting MediaShout scripts in, say, a worship setting or a presentation setting. The most important thing you need to know is as you create files to present on a computer is that the actual file itself doesn't include all the media. So if we, for instance, go to Save As, you'll see that this particular file is called Sample Worship, and it's the file type of MediaShout, which is .ssc. This MediaShout script includes just the script, and it references other files like videos and images and backgrounds, all those sorts of things. And so basically, if you were to open this up on another computer, it wouldn't know where the other files are because those other media files would not actually be on that other computer because you created it on the same computer that you created the script on. And the same way, if you happen to move, say, a video or a picture being used in the presentation, then MediaShout is going to lose track of it. So you want to make sure that you keep all those together. This is especially important if you create the MediaShout script on one computer but use another computer to present it. For instance, maybe you create it in your office and then you want to present it on a computer in the chapel. The way you go about fixing this is use a tool called Packer for MediaShout and go to File and down to Packer. You're going to choose where you want Packer to save all the media, and then you name it, this file to go with it. And so what it's going to do is it's going to create a folder, and it's going to copy all the media that you reference in your script and put it all in one place, which you'll be able to drag into a flash drive or maybe your Dropbox drive or another kind of way of transporting media to another computer. And then you would click Pack my presentation, and then it'll be in a little folder on your desktop or wherever you decide to save it. So here we have this this kind of sample worship presentation that I've put together of, say, a chapel service. The first thing you're going to want to do, especially the first time to set up in the chapel, is to make sure you get the screens and projectors working correctly with the software. You'll see up here this little display with a cog. If you click on that, it's going to open up your Windows settings and how the displays are shared across the space here. And ideally what you're going to want to do is extend the display. On this computer, you click Window P, and I can choose to show it on the PC, duplicate the screen, but we want to choose Extend because on the laptop itself, we want to display the controls, and on the screen, we only want to display the presentation. So you're going to want to make sure that this is set up well ahead of time, and you're also going to make sure, each time you do this presentation that things are looking good for chapel service, because we don't want any kind of accidents or just anything that technical difficulties or a real distraction. If we go back to this top menu here, you see this button here, which is an overlay display, so you can test to see what it looks like in display mode if you only have one monitor. So you're sitting in your office, you've made a display, now you want to see what it looks like, what it would look like on a projector. We'll click that, and I'm going to hit the space bar, and we'll be able to see our slides. So this is what a projector would see. And notice here these three monitors. This is where you tell the software how many monitors you're going to be broadcasting to. The default is 1. This is if you don't have anything connected. You're seeing the first monitor right here. When you're ready to display to a second display, for example a projector, you'll click on this 2 button. Now I have another projector screen set up in the room where I'm recording this. So right now, on the laptop screen, what you're seeing now, I see the controls. And if I look to my left, in the room I'm in, I see a projector screen with this display box here. So whatever you're seeing right here, I'm seeing outside on my projector screen. This is how you know that it's set up correctly for chapel, and you may want to test it a little bit. So when you have everything set up kind of how you like it in the chapel, and say the chapel service is about to begin, you're going to look here on this right side of these individual cues in our script, and you're going to see, again, our edit button, and over here you're going to see a little play button inside of a projector screen. They call that the fire button because it kind of fires the cue so people can see it. So we can manually click on these buttons, and you're going to see in our preview screen what the congregation will be seeing. And down here, I can click Next, and this is going to show the next slide that the congregation is going to see. So here we have the current slide, and then down here you're going to see what the congregation is going to see next. And you can certainly go through and fire each individual slide like this. But the way that they've designed the software to work is that you hit the spacebar to advance to the next slide. And this just takes some of the guess out of where you hit your mouse. It eliminates some of the accidents or accidental pressing of the wrong button. So if you just click spacebar, it's going to manually advance one slide each time. And notice how when it gets to like this big slide deck of a hymn, it's going to open the whole deck and go through each one like so. And notice how I've also built in these black slides, and you may recall that those are located in this miscellaneous tab. And those you can pull in wherever you think you might need it. So if we're firing the last page of this hymn, and I click space, it's already going to fade to black automatically. And this way you don't need to worry about taking things off the screen. And you certainly wouldn't need to mute the projector using like physical buttons on the projector or on the controlling for the projector. Ideally, you would just leave that stuff on the whole time, and if you needed a black screen, you would have it built in. And alternatively, if you look down into this right-hand corner, you see what's called the firebox. And most of this you won't really need, but this quick cues area is pretty handy to have. Each of these you can change to your own images, but notice how the box in the middle is just a black box. So for instance, if we are in the middle of a prayer and there's like a long period of silence, and you kind of realize that I really shouldn't be projecting words during this area, you would click this black box here, and it's automatically just going to make the screen go black and non-distracting. When you're ready to resume, you just go up to the slide you want to resume from and click the presentation fire button again, and it's going to start all over again. And like I said, you can customize what each of these show. For instance, here on the left, I've added Union's logo. So maybe beginning of chapel or something, you may just want Union's logo there. And so when I click that, this is what's going to show up on the screen. And you could think of a few other things that would be helpful. Perhaps a picture of the quad or something, just as a sort of a default image there. So these are the kind of the main basics for how you present things. Again, you just want to minimize the possibility of showing the wrong slide or exiting the program. And so really all you need to remember is kind of hitting the space bar to advance to the next slide. If you do, perhaps need to go back, just press the fire button for the slide that you want to go back to, and the presentation will resume where it ought to. If we go up to this top menu area, you'll see some other quick shortcut keys to make things happen. So for instance, F7, F11, F9, play these different cues. There's a possibility you can set up a remote actually to work with the presentation, either a remote like an iPad or an iPhone, which may be a little bit kind of hacked together feel to it. I think the app cost a couple bucks. And what might work a little bit better is if you have a hardware or USB remote, and you can set it so you can press up or down. And this would be primarily for whoever's running the presentation, but may want to sit with the congregation Wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I think it's better for somebody to be sitting at the computer in the back of the room, kind of just monitoring everything that's going on. One final helpful thing to note is, let's see, where is it? It is under View, is Volunteer Mode. Volunteer Mode kind of cuts down on all the editing features. So all you have is the script here. You have your Previous and Next button. And then you have your program, what people are actually seeing here. And below you see your preview or next slide. I always like it on next so I can see what the congregation is going to be seeing, when I hit the next button. And then of course down here you have your Firebox stuff where you can, choose the logo or a black screen or another image of some kind. So, this might be a nice way of presenting it, especially if the person doing the presentation isn't super familiar with the software. Just like you do on the in the main, full-fledged mode, you click the Fire button to show the presentation. You can hit the spacebar, and it'll navigate through the different slides. You can skip around to different slides by pressing the Fire button in different orders. And of course, over here you have your buttons where you can click Next or Previous. And like I said, they have access to the quick go to black screen or the your logo image here. There's even a way of setting up a password, so it takes a password to close out of the screen, just so you don't have anybody meddling in the presentation at the last minute. To get out of that, you just click Exit Volunteer Mode, and it'll return you to your script. And that's all you really know for presenting. And again, the main thing we want to do is just to minimize the number of hiccups or technical difficulties. We want it to be as smooth as possible. And that just means kind of the super heightened attention of the person who's running the presentation, making sure that whatever is showing on the screen is matching and in line with whatever's happening in the room. And that just takes a lot of attention.